Well, Dr. Goodwin, I saw just pulled up right as I was walking in, so we'll give her a couple seconds to get in here and we'll call things to order. So Shannon got quite a haircut. I am okay. Yeah, well, you went from what, ponytail to okay. So you kind of
You're the guinea pig.
I wish I had such an option. So yeah, I do the best with what I got. So let's see. Yeah, like I said, no, I saw a shadow. I thought it was Dr. Goodwin, but there she is.
There she is.
Hello, Dr. Goodwin. All right, we'll call thing. It's still 10 o'clock on the dot technically, so we'll call it right at 10 o'clock and get things going. If the clerk would please call our roll for us this morning. Yeah. Hey, when you have an attorney, so nobody screw up today either. So,
All right. Mr. Hartwig,
present.
Mr. Mulligan,
Here.
Mr. Robertson,
Here.
Mr. Soldani, Dr. Goodwin. Through the chair, we have quorum.
Thank you very much. So with that being said, we'll move on now to the approval of the consent calendar, which is items 9 through 11. Does anybody have any additions, corrections for the minutes at all? And if not, I'll accept a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Appreciate that. So it's Dr. Goodwin and Mr. Robertson. Any discussion? Hearing none, then all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, so the motion carries there by unanimous consent. And that takes us then to our public hearing. All right. So with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Cuthbertson to come forward here, if he'd be so kind. And I'll ask everybody that wishes to testify today to please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matters pending before the hearing board today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. So, all right, we'll call the next item, which is certainty docket C-25-10S, a short variance. And ask Mr. Cuthbertson to identify himself and staff as well, please.
Ben Cuthbertson for Certainty Chowchilla.
Thank you very much. And Shannon, I'm assuming you're taking this
Good morning. My name is Shannon Moore. I'm an air quality specialist here at the district. Before you this morning is Certainty LLC. They operate a glass melting furnace and other equipment associated with the production of fiberglass insulation. In order to control particulate matter emissions, exhaust from the furnace is vented through a preconditioning scrubber with caustic soda injection and a dry electrostatic precipitator, which creates a high voltage electrical field on discharge plates inside the unit. Particulate matter in the exhaust stream receives an electric charge when passing through the discharge plates and is then deposited on the grounded collector plates. On July 29, 2025, Pacific Gas and Electric Company notified Certainty of a scheduled power outage to replace and repair a number of transmission poles and repair a main switch at the Chowchilla-Kirchhoff number 2 115 kilovolt line. PG&E expects to complete all the work on November 12, 2025. During the power outage, the entire emissions control system, including the continuous emissions monitoring system and the continuous opacity monitoring system, will shut down and need to be bypassed. While they're in bypass mode, Certainty expects to have excess particulate matter and visible emissions. Therefore, Certainty has requested a short variance from requirements of the applicable district rules and sections of the California Health and Safety Code, in addition to conditions of the subject permits. The requested short variance would be for a consecutive 48-hour period to occur sometime between November 11th, 2025 and December 13th, 2025, inclusive. If granted, the variance would allow the exhaust stream from the glass melting furnace to bypass the emissions control system and the continuous emissions and opacity monitoring systems while PG&E shuts down power to the facility to perform scheduled maintenance. Although PG&E expects to complete the work in one day, Certainty is requesting up to 48 consecutive hours in the event of possible contingencies. As is typical during bypass for routine maintenance, Certainty expects up to 95% opacity during the shutdown. Certainty has calculated that excess PM10 or particulate matter emissions could be up to And this is actually where I made a mistake. The actual emissions are only going to be about 4,000. Actually, I'll tell you right now. I put down the total emissions and didn't subtract out the permitted emissions. So the actual emissions will be 4,800 and what is it? 4,868 is the potential excess emissions for a full 48-hour period. Again, I think we're expecting the emissions probably to be under 1,000 pounds because it should be less, about 8 hours or so. I would expect it to be around that. But at any rate, the district has reviewed the calculations and determined that they are appropriate for the variance. And the district believes the required findings as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that Certainty LLC be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 4 and 5. And that concludes the district's presentation.
Right. Mr. Cuthbertson, do you have anything to add?
Okay, so you use 48 hours. I have the work order from PG&E. They're asking for 12 hours from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
We have an engineering meeting this afternoon to discuss what has to take place prior to PG&E throwing the switch and then after closing the switch at the end of the day. Keep in mind, they have 7 poles on their work order and 1 switch. I haven't seen this done since I've been in the plant, so I don't know exactly, whether or not they'll follow this schedule.
So
Hopefully
it should
so.
be,
But we asked for 48 simply because we're not really sure. There will be a few hours prior to where we have to shut equipment down before they can open their switch, and then same on the opposite end to start our equipment up.
so it's probably,
It shouldn't be 48,
but it's going to be more than
but it's
8
going to be more than 8.
that I mentioned in the report.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good info. That'll,
Yeah, I sent you the work order. I just got that today.
oh, okay. So I can put it in the file.
I sent you a copy of that.
So for clarity's sake, I mean, the calculations that were here are based on the 48.
Yes.
At least expected to be.
That is for a full 48 hours, which would be what you would approve up to 48
Okay,
hours. of
and
emissions.
but we expect the emissions to be
Yeah. it'll be less.
significantly less.
I would think so.
Okay.
Given that, then there's no fees attached to the,
There will be fees in this case. This is different than routine maintenance. So they will be paying emissions fees for the emissions. There is a petition fee. If the emissions exceed 2,000 pounds, they'll also pay a mitigation fee.
That was the 2000. Yeah. So, okay, I was curious about the 2000 and then.
Yeah, if it's above 2,000. then
Which again, we would, if it is only the 12, how many of our hours it could be potentially.
it could be close to his 12, maybe. I don't know. I think we'll still be good under 12 hours because
Yeah,
it looked like roughly it was about 120 pounds an hour, maybe
right. 124.
124 pounds an hour.
12, yeah, that's 1,400, 1,500
Yeah.
ish. Okay. But I guess we've started asking some questions. Let me formally open it up here to any questions from the board, but I'm sure you've got a couple. So.
I always do. So are you lumping this maintenance under your 144-hour allocation? under
I
that
don't
condition
think
of-
so,
No,
because
this would not
it's not our maintenance. It's
Right. And they're not,
PG&E has to take our power
it's
away.
PG&E's maintenance and it's not, Certainty is not doing maintenance of their emissions control equipment,
Right,
which would be
right.
the only reason or the only time that 144 hours would kick in is if they're actually working on the emissions control equipment for the furnace.
Which is why there's a fee.
I just wanted to know for a second.
I've got a line of questioning here. if you
Let's,
don't
All
mind.
right,
yeah.
maybe you'll come.
So that condition allows for relief from your NOx and your SOx limits and your VOC. Are you going to exceed those during this? Because I noticed you're only asking for relief from the PM10 limit. So is this going to affect
That's
your
all-
NOx?
That we're not, well,
It says you're bypassing your emissions control equipment here.
I don't
You guys
think
have
we're actually-
oxy-fuel, right?
yeah, we have oxy-fuel. So we're not going to be above the NOx limit simply because that's not controlled by the EP. That's controlled just by management of the furnace.
Of the furnace and the fuel. They
Okay.
use an oxy
Yeah,
fuel.
and
So the
that'll
NOx is
continue.
managed by, through that.
So you don't
Right.
use SCR, your SCR?
No, we don't have an SCR. We just have electrostatic precipitators.
Okay.
Our
Yeah.
NOx is low enough when we're using oxy fuel.
Okay, so you don't
to be within the
anticipate
limits.
violating your NOx, your VOC or
No.
any of that?
That's all controlled.
Okay,
Separate.
all right.
Yeah.
And will your SEMS be online?
The SEMS will only be capturing what comes out of the main stack, and we're going to shunt the furnace emissions through the bypass stack. So that will not capture the emissions, the NOx numbers from the furnace.
It will or will?
It
not?
will not.
Not, okay,
No.
okay.
You guys are, and I'm sorry, Dr. Goodwin, I guess just a quick follow. So you guys are calculating, basically just, it's a math problem. That's how you.
It's,
guys are
yeah, it's, I
calculating.
mean, essentially the
Okay.
furnace is, we'll just say 95 to 98% of our NOx emissions. And we know that as the furnace runs, even though we have no SCR in play, we know that the furnace is generally below that limit. It's
Yeah, you're not
Right now, it's
changing your
like
combustion
1.2
process at all.
pounds per ton or so, and the limit's 3.
Go ahead, Dr. Goodwin, if you had a.
Oh, a good question. Say that.
If you're ready to go, I guess. If I get your question for an answer, I guess.
No, well, the question I had, is there any reason you can't do maintenance while they're doing this in order to prevent you from doing another later? Because
There's no reason, we just don't have any maintenance scheduled on our EP. or the-
PG&E maybe
scrubber.
cooperated and scheduled it with them.
We were asking them to do it next year so that we could do that, and they just said,
But it's kind of out of their control with PG&E's.
It's their schedule.
They're
Didn't
not.
coincide
in my
this
experience,
time.
They're not as always when it's on their schedule, that's when it's getting done.
Right, and again, I don't know, maybe it's been a while since they maintained that switch. I don't know.
another question I had is that you're going to be monitoring this twice a day for emissions. And it seems like probably, well, I guess if you're going at 95%, there isn't much to monitor.
We do have to look at it. It could be up to 95, and it's a visible.
So what kind of record do they keep? Because we've had this many times before. How often do they monitor, and what has it been in the past as far as?
We've done a health risk assessment for you in the past from Certainty to see what the impact was and provided that to you. I don't know that the district, I mean, we respond to any complaints, obviously, if we get them, and we haven't. I'm not sure if the inspectors actually go out there during these. I think you're required to notify us when the variances
It's
typically begin.
between
24.
96 and
Yeah.
24 hours prior.
So the district does have, or is aware when the variance is in effect and could go out and monitor, but I don't have the numbers, or I'm not aware if the district's sending inspectors out during variances. I know the inspectors do follow up on the summary reports and get all the data and review it once the variances are finished. So
There are sometimes members of public who notice that our stack it looks different. Our stack emissions look different. I mean, this time of year, there's quite a bit of moisture. But once the plume exit the stack, it starts to dissipate at a certain point, and you'll see the dust coming off the edge of the plume. So there are sometimes community members that will call you all, and we get notification that the inspector will call us and say, hey, we got notification and just want to make sure that you're on your variance, which we are.
When community members call you, what are they asking, or what are they?
Well, they don't ever actually call us. They call.
they're
call
probably typically
here.
just concerned and want to know if everything's okay, or sometimes it's a complaint. I mean, are you talking about this specific case, or are you talking about in general?
In general, because here I noticed it says that if there is a problem, if you notice a nuisance, that you will do something to correct it. But it doesn't, I mean, it's kind of vague. It's kind of a
Right.
vague sentence.
Yeah, the nuisance, I'm not sure what that would entail.
A
because
nuisance is typically going to be something where there's several complaints in a given time frame, and one or two complaints probably wouldn't even justify a nuisance situation. I know this is something that has been ongoing, obviously, for a long time. So we've granted variances to them, and they've for necessary maintenance for some time now. And I think at certain points, some people in the community may get a little, depending on how the plume is falling or what they see with the light at that particular time, they may have a little bit of concern. And they may call us, I guess, from what Ben's saying. And so we are aware of it, and the inspector is just making sure that in those cases that they're operating under variance. If they weren't, and we saw that, and obviously it would require probably an inspection and maybe some enforcement action if this type of thing is going on outside of a variance.
So we don't have a record of in the past years of what possible complaints could have been. Or
Oh, I'm sure there is.
People calling up all the time, or they.
We have a
different people?
complaint database for our calls that come in, so it was something that we do track and keep. And could I guess, I mean, are you asking for a copy or something? I mean, and probably subject to a public records request, maybe, but
No, I wasn't asking for a copy. I was just, because it's vague. It's just vague about what is a nuisance. We don't know how many calls there are or what type of nuisance.
we have a specific rule for nuisance.
It's
I
41
believe.
too, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
don't need the rule. I need to know the community. I'm interested in the community. What might the community be complaining about? What have they complained about, if anything? That's all.
yeah, without reviewing all those complaints specifically, I don't know if I could give you details on what specifically was the complaints were, other than like Ben has alluded to the fact that we've gotten calls regarding the plume and responded to those and made sure that they were still operating either within a variance or in compliance.
So let me make sure I understand this correctly then. And so basically any calls, most of the time, I mean, overgeneralize, most of the time, if there's any calls, it's usually just the plume looks a little bit different.
Yeah,
for
and like I
whatever
said,
reason.
the district occasionally runs into instances where there's a nuisance situation with odors, maybe like at a rendering plant or something like that.
Not specific to this.
Not specific to
Right.
this. I'm talking about in general, because you asked about nuisances. And it's been my experience, just from what I've seen in the district, that it generally is gonna take multiple calls, like 10 maybe, of people calling in for the district to even consider a nuisance violation or consider a violation for issuing a notice violation for nuisance. So it would take some investigation to determine the cause, whether there was negligence, how much of an impact it had on the community is going to be the big thing. So if we get, 3 or 4 people maybe driving by on 99 by certainty and they see a plume and 1 or 2 of them call in, and asking about it, that's probably not going to be considered a nuisance, just as an example. But if somebody, the wind's blowing and it's settling and there's somebody in the community, 2 miles down or like 20 people all of a sudden get dumped on, dust on their house and call us, then we're going to go out there and that's going to be a situation where we would look at it and maybe.
Because PM10, so it's going to be more breathing problems.
It just, I don't know about the breathing. I do know that the dust itself, it does settle. In fact, when we have a variance, most of the plant personnel complain about dust on their car. So we know that there's dust that is dissipated, locally to the plant, to the stack. Outside of a variance, I'll just give you, for instance, any complaints that I've heard about from the inspectors. If they call me and say, hey, we got a complaint, somebody said they were driving by and they saw whatever it was, the stack, they saw smoke coming out of the stack. So we'll go and look at the opacity monitor, check the morning calibration, make sure the opacity monitor is running correctly. And if it says it's below 20%, which it normally is around 2% or less, there's not really anything to do there.
Yeah,
That's outside of a variance like this.
So even though there's something visible to the public, if they're still
Right.
operating in
They
compliance.
just might be, not aware of the fact that our stack is mostly steam. Our stack exhaust is mostly steam.
Is PG&E securing power to the entire site?
Yes,
How are you maintaining operation? And do you
we're
have a
bringing in a
backup generator?
portable generator.
Okay.
We can't use our backups
So why is your EP incapable of being powered up?
because the generator that we're getting is not capable of supplying everything associated with plant and production. It's going to allow us to run one line
Hmm.
and one line only, and that main, the stack fan, the EP fan is directly connected to the main line. So one of the MCCs that
Yep.
is connected to that main line will be out.
See. And you can't get a big enough generator to keep that.
Right.
Okay.
Then plus there would be I'm not an electrical engineer, but apparently there's wiring issues. They'd have to cut into that particular MCC and make a whole bunch of changes.
Okay.
A lot of poles, 7 poles.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch. I've never seen them do this, so.
Does
Yeah.
PG&E give you any reimbursement for your costs?
No. Thanks, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
If you read the fine print, it might be, yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm not real
I
familiar
don't,
with how
I'm
that-
sure most people don't want the tax deduction. They'd rather just be able to operate probably at,
No, with the poles
Capacity.
pulling on your head.
all right. Any other questions, from the board here? If not, I'll open it up, if there's any public comments on this matter.
None in Fresno and showing none online.
Thank you. All right. Well, with that, then I will, call for a motion here if anybody's willing to make one.
I move to approve Certainty LLC's petition for a short variance set forth in docket number C-25-10S with the required 6 findings of the Health and Safety Code adopted by reference as set forth in the staff report. Variance shall be effective for a consecutive 48-hour period to occur between November 11th, 2025 and December 13th, 2025 inclusive, or until PG&E completes their planned maintenance work and returns power to Certainty, whichever occurs first, and shall be subject to the conditions on pages 4 to 5 of the staff report.
If you please call the roll.
Mr. Hartwick,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mr. Robertson,
Yes.
Dr. Goodwin. Through the chair, motion passes.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, that takes us into a little bit of suspense here. Public comment, item 5, this time is available for any folks that wish to comment on any matter that's not on the agenda that might come before this board. I don't see any public comment.
None in Fresno and none online.
All right, thank you. Any hearing board member comments today? No? All right, new business, I don't see any. That takes us number 8, which is adjournment. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.